So my coach fired me. It was in a room full of 30 amazing, ambitious women. And I was telling her about my business goals and dreams. And it was going to require me to think and act in different ways than I ever have before. And I said, I don't know how to do this alone. I need you. And she looked at me and she said, Luria, you can do this. 4 words, 4 words. And I burst into tears. Like, not just tears, though. It was like those ugly tears, the kind that you're holding on by a single emotional thread because you've had a terrible, brutal week in business. And you call your friend, you're hoping for some kind of wisdom, reassurance, like literally anything. And they go, I got nothing. And then you give up promptly, like those kind of ugly tears. So I'm sitting there crying in front of everyone. And all I can think of is, stop crying, Luria. But I couldn't, because for years I had been feeling this other version of me, just waiting and wanting to explode out into the world, to set aside old habits and patterns and ways of thinking about my business and my content. So when she said those 4 words, you can do this, it broke me. Like, I mean, these words, they're not extraordinary, right? She wasn't telling me anything I hadn't technically heard before, but my reaction to that, it told me everything. Because in that moment, I realized something I just never had words for before. I had outsourced my belief in myself. Not my strategy or my skills or my experience, but my belief. And once I saw that, I really couldn't unsee it. And so I realized that I'd spent years looking outside of myself for certainty, for permission, for validation, for somebody to tell me I'm doing it right. Give me that gold star, y'all. But by that point, I had spent 20 years building brands. And that's kind of wild to think about, because I had hosted TV shows. I'd built audiences. I'd worked with major names, been inducted into the Podcast Hall of Fame. I built, lost, and rebuilt businesses, started over more than once. So from the outside, it looked like confidence and perseverance. But underneath all of that, I was still looking sideways for permission. Because for most of those 20 years, and really my entire life before that, there was always somebody standing just off camera, hovering, ready at a moment's notice to tell me I'm fucking it up at every turn, that they could do it better than I could if they were in my place, that I needed them to do it right. And they were always the people, of course, who closest to me, that I was supposed to trust the most, that they were supposed to be in my corner. And what they actually were teaching me, sometimes in the actual words, yes, but mostly in these thousands of small moments, was that my instincts were wrong, that their way was the right way, that without them, I wouldn't know what to do. How could I? And I don't think my story is unique. I know, in fact, a lot of women have experienced this. And again, it's not always direct, but in these thousands of small moments. Be agreeable. Don't make waves. Don't speak out of turn. Let somebody else lead. Wait until you're better. Trust the expert. Trust the system. Trust everybody else before you trust yourself. Ugh. And the problem with this is that eventually you stop hearing your own instincts altogether. In fact, one day, this is another video altogether, but one day I literally told my mom, I don't think I have instincts. And that's where things get really dangerous, though, for us. Because when you outsource belief in yourself, no strategy can save you. You can buy course after course after course. You can hire another coach. You can follow another blueprint. You can copy another person's script, and none of it's going to work because you're still operating from the belief that somebody else knows better than you. I know because I've lived this. When I first started doing video 20 years ago, I was terrified of getting it wrong. Like, terrified. I wouldn't go live without a script. I wouldn't record off the cuff. I was convinced that one mistake would just expose me and make it all come crashing down, right? And one day I was doing a live call and I was so reading from a script. Like, on that live call, I was supposed to be just having a conversation and I read a single word wrong. One word. And after that call, the person I was supposed to trust the most in that moment looked at me with anger in his eyes and voice. If you can't get it right, you might as well not do it at all. And that cemented something. I believed him. I became even more obsessed with perfection, even more afraid of mistakes, even more dependent on his approval. Because every time we stop trusting in ourselves, you hand that power to somebody else, right? And the crazy part is that mistake I thought was going to ruin everything. Nobody cared. In fact, I got an opportunity to co-host a TV show right after that. A freaking TV show. I remember thinking, wow, you have the wrong person. I do not know what the hell I'm doing, but I said yes before I could back out, before I had a chance to really think about like how I was going to do this thing. And suddenly I find myself in another country in a big TV studio, bright lights everywhere, cameras the size of refrigerators, like they were huge. There was a crew of like 10 people all staring at me, watching me, expecting me to be good. And this was live. No retakes, no edits. For a girl who is glued to the script word for word, perfection though was no longer an option. No safety net. And that person who had told me that I would ruin everything if it wasn't perfect, well, guess what? He wasn't even there whispering in my ear for the first time. It was just me. Just me, and I was terrified. And yeah, I flubbed through my words. I stumbled through. I forgot things. I messed up. I laughed my way through it just to get through it. And when the director yelled, "Cut," and they finally turned the cameras off, breathed this huge sigh of relief because at least it was over. But I knew I was terrible. Like, I was picking apart every single stumble and playing back every moment in my head. I was just cringing at myself. So I braced for that criticism. And that crew, they looked at me with big, genuine smiles on their faces saying how fantastic I did. And I was shocked because they saw something completely different than what I felt. And that's when I started learning one of the most important lessons of my career. There is a gap between how you feel on the inside and how you actually come across on the outside. And for most of us, that gap feels enormous, right? You feel the nerves, you feel the stumble, you feel like everyone can see exactly how terrified and bad you are. They can't. What they see is actually somebody just showing up, someone they can trust, especially on video. And this is why so many people struggle with visibility, because they use their feelings as evidence. They think, well, if I feel nervous, I must look nervous. If I feel awkward, I must sound awkward. If I feel unsure, people must see me as unsure and uncredible. Incredible. No, uncredible. But these feelings, they're not true. So why does this happen? Why do we feel like we're falling apart and not worthy when everybody else sees something fantastic in us? And what I've learned and what I teach over the last 20 years of doing this and watching thousands of people go through this exact same thing is 3 things. Number 1, your fear is not evidence. So when you feel the nerves before you hit record, it's not your instincts telling you that you're not ready. It's just what showing up feels like. You know, I felt it on that TV set the first time I stepped out on a stage as well. I feel it now every single time that I step into something new and different. Nerves don't mean stop. They mean that you're about to do something that matters to you. It's your body telling you that you care about what you're doing. You want to do a good job. Number 2, borrow the belief until you build your own. So there's a difference between borrowing belief and outsourcing belief. Borrowing belief, it's healthy. And no, it is not fake it till you make it. That we'll tackle in another video. But when my coach looked at me and said, "You can do this," I didn't fully believe her, right? I couldn't fully see what she saw in me in that moment. But I was willing at least to go away and consider that she might be right. That's borrowing belief. Think of it as a bridge. When you can't access your own belief yet, let them hold their belief for you, and that gives yourself some space to practice while your belief catches up. That crew on the TV set believed in me before I did. My audience believed in me before I did. And slowly, one experience at a time, one video at a time, one stumble and laugh through it at a time, I started to collect evidence that, hey, they might be right. Outsourcing belief is very different. Outsourcing belief replaces your own. So it's not yours anymore. You're making somebody else's confidence more important than your own. You're making somebody else's opinion the deciding factor. You are making somebody else's certainty the thing that determines your next move, and that is what's going to keep you stuck forever. Number 3, you get to decide. Okay, so this is the most scary and the most liberating thing at the same time. It's okay to lean on others for support, but ultimately, it is up to you. And sometimes we need to be our own cheerleader. So if you have to, create a little alter ego, your own little personal cheerleader sitting on your shoulder, you at your very best, how you show up for others, most encouraging, most supportive, most action-taking self. Envision her, create a mantra around it, whatever works for you, but use her intentionally to step into that version of you and do it anyway, despite how you feel. Because our biggest moments, they don't come from motivation. They come from taking action despite feeling ready. Ready is not a feeling. It is a decision. And it's yours to decide. So back to that room full of these inspiring women and my coach, when she said, "Luria, you can do this," I admitted I did not feel like I could because of my past experiences. And she said, all I've ever seen in you is strength. And I decided in that moment, it was yet again time to take back my power, my own belief in myself going into my next chapter. I decided that I wasn't going to need her to tell me the plan, that I didn't need somebody else's roadmap, that I didn't need permission. I just needed somebody to say out loud what I was maybe almost ready to believe. The danger isn't ever failing, right? The danger is wasting more years building the life around what other people think we should do. The danger is ignoring the thing that I knew I wanted for years. The danger was waking up 10 years from now, realizing I didn't do the thing that I wanted to, that I didn't become the woman that I know I can be down here. And, I believe that this is what scares a lot of ambitious women the most. It's not even the fear of failure, it's regret. Am I right? So that's what I want for every woman who comes across this channel. I'm not here to just pound you with more information, another expert to follow, another formula that you have to get right. I want you to trust yourself enough to stop waiting for permission. And yeah, I still have moments of self-doubt where the doubt creeps in every single time I do something new, different, level up. Those things are scary. and they require a bigger version of yourself. They require thinking and acting differently. This doesn't go away. It really doesn't. But when I'm faced with it at this point, I now at least know what to do with it. Right? And you are somebody incredible, doing incredible work in this world. You could have been in that room with these 30 amazing women. I have zero doubt about that. And showing up on video, oh my gosh, like it's vulnerable to put yourself out there and to build this audience, to step into this kind of visibility where imperfection is highlighted to the max, to face the traps that society and people have put on you your whole life, to play small, to not make waves, to basically ask people to judge you. You're not really, I know, but that's what it feels like, right? You feel this gap between who you are on the inside and who you are afraid won't be enough on the outside. I am not going to tell you this gap goes away. It doesn't. I will tell you it is worth crossing anyway. You know, I'm not at the top of the mountain here. I am mid-journey on this big pivot that brought this story to life. I'm the same as you, pushing myself, challenging myself, fearful through it all. But I've been doing this for 20 years and I've watched and coached thousands of people through that gap. I've watched myself cross that gap many times. And my promise to you is that I will be here holding the belief while yours catches up. If you want to come on this journey with me and see what you're truly capable of, beyond the self-doubt, the fears, the guilt of abandoning yourself and your dreams, drop a comment. Tell me, where are you with all of this right now? Are you hovering over hitting record? Are you already showing up, but maybe not fully trusting it yet or needing to level up? Are you in a pivot where the future seems really uncertain? I want to know, because this channel is built around that conversation and a community of women supporting each other to not play small. Let's do this together.